joined today by Peter George, Managing Director of Alicanto Minerals. Peter, thanks for your time.
Well, thanks very much, David. It's nice to be here.
Operating in Sweden, great place to operate.
Fantastic place to operate. I was lucky enough to work over there for 6 years, actually. School of Mines graduate from Kalgoorlie, going back to '95. Spent a bit of time working for Western Mining Corporation before it became BHP, but then I was lucky enough to get over there for 6 years. And yeah, look, it's probably, together with Australia, my two favourite places to operate.
Why is it such a good place to operate?
Look, it's a tier 1 jurisdiction, right? So, you really want to be mining in the type of places that you want to live. So, I think in Australia we've been through, the last 20, 30 years of really cleaning up our act and having mines within Western Australia, leading the world with technology and what we deliver, and Sweden's up there with the same sort of infrastructure. I've got national highways running past my tenements. I've got national railways, high-speed 5G comms everywhere, fresh water, an educated workforce that's used to working in the mines. Sweden's I think is the largest producer of metals in Europe today.
Now, looking at the projects themselves, a greenfields and a brownfields opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the Greater Farallon project, which we've been looking at for the last a bit over 12 months now. So we've started with that one. The Farallon mine itself was a 28 million tonne ore body that was been mined out for probably over the best part of 1,000 years, believe it or not. With 4% copper, 4 grams per tonne gold, 5% zinc, 35 grams per tonne of silver, and a few percent of lead. So a very, very high grade ore body, which would be worth billions today if it was still in the ground. And we've pegged everything in and around it. And over the last 12 months, we've effectively re-engineered the geology and turned 1,000 years of geology on its head now. And whereas historically it was believed that Farallon was like VMS, or volcanogenic massive sulphide style ore bodies, we've now discovered that it's actually copper, gold and polymetallic skarn. And we've now discovered over 12 causative intrusions within the area. We've just finished a 4,000 metre drilling program, and effectively we've drilled into copper, gold and polymetallic skarns in every one of our targets. So it's been a big year.
And where to for that project?
Yeah, so the intersections that we had were relatively narrow, even though they were high grade, but from our point of view that's still very exciting because there's a lot of structural folding, in synclines and anticlines where we're getting those bonanza style deposits which have been created at Farallon. And what that means effectively is that as these folding events occur, the massive sulphides are being squeezed from the limbs into the synclines and the anticlines, just like at Farallon itself. So even though we've intersected some narrow, had some narrow intersections, we're very excited about what we're seeing because we're seeing the proximal part of the copper gold skarn. So it means we're close. We've committed to a 20,000 metre drilling program in November last year. We raised $6 million. We still have $6 million in the bank today. So we've got three drill rigs up and spinning. Well, 2 at Farallon and the third one at our Sala project, about 100 kilometres away.
You mentioned your second project. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, so Sala, and I guess that it's more brownfield style exploration for the perhaps a bit more impatient investors out there that want to see instant results. But Sala was an amazing mine. I actually went down there about 25 years ago with my father while I was living over there, and it was an old mine that would have been mined from about the 1500s through to about 1908. It was all fire setting, so the old boys would be down there, they'd set a fire on the wall and heat it up and come back the next day and then get a 2 centimetre advance, and did that for about 400 years. But the grades were phenomenal. They had an average grade of 1,244 grams per tonne silver, produced over 200 million ounces of silver over that period of time. I only mined it down to 290 metres, but they also produced 35,000 tonnes of lead. So the average gold gram per tonne equivalent is significant. It's well over 15. So it's a very high grade ore body. We've spent, and we announced that we'd taken that project on board about 3-4 months ago, and we've been doing a lot of work while we're waiting for the drilling approvals to come through. They've come through now, so that third drill rig is up and spinning. And but the work that we've been doing in the background has been quite exciting because we've actually realised that historically they believed that there was the Sala ore body and there was a Prince ore body, which is a zinc, silver, lead deposit 300 metres away. They actually believed that they were parallel to begin with. We've since discovered that they actually intersect each other, and could be one of the reasons as to why. Undercut the Prince ore body actually undercuts the Sala ore body, and can be one of the reasons as to why the ore bodies have got down to the zinc level, which back in the 1800s and before it wasn't really a mine a metal that they mined for in Sweden back in those days. So all sorts of opportunities in there, and we even went back into the drilling database for Prince. There's actually a hole that we realised it's actually not part of the Prince ore body, it's actually part of the Sala ore body. So there's 6 metres at about 150 odd grams per tonne silver, 180 grams per tonne silver, and a percent of lead, sitting about 150 metres below the last known workings. But then on top of that, we've got another drill hole about 200 metres down plunge, or along strike of the ore body, which came in at about 0.7 metres at 844 grams per tonne silver and 16.3% lead, which is, if you back calculate that into a gold equivalent, that's in excess of 3 ounces. So, pretty phenomenal grades that these guys were mining back in the day.
And well funded, what's the work program look like for the next 6 or 12 months across the two projects?
Yeah, so they're split at the moment. It's around about 15,000 metres for the Greater Farallon project, and 5,000 metres worth of confirmation drilling over at Sala, just to get an indication as to what we're dealing with at Sala before we move into the next phase. At Greater Farallon, we've done the 4,000 metre drilling program now. We're just going into a downhole EM program, as well as a MAG geophysics program, just to really define the granitic causative intrusions that we're seeing up on surface, which we've seen about 12 of now. But then, as well as obviously with the downhole EM, that gives us a good view of 100 or so metres out into the rock to see if we can find those the synclines and the anticlines, all those bonanza style Farallon deposits.
Well funded, 2 really exciting projects, greenfields and brownfields, which should keep investors happy with the news flow over the next 6-12 months as you move those projects forward. Peter, George, thanks for your time.
Good on you, thanks, Dave.